Alright.
Yes. What are you saying, lads?
Lads.
Yeah, lads.
Lads, like, my man's from South Yorkshire.
Here today. What are you saying, bro?
Living.
That's it. That's what we're talking about, man.
You a bit hot?
No, I'm a little bit, yeah. You want to do it down there?
Nah, don't worry, man.
Come on.
To be fair, it's October, innit? So, should be alright, man.
Yeah, man. I guess I know you're obviously tired from all these questions, so just to make it easier for you, in a nutshell, in like 2 sentences or something, who's TrapHouse Tattooer? Well, the name says it itself, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why I took a long pause, like I'm uncertain of what I do, innit? I tattoo and I make music and I do art and I do fucking loads of things under that moniker.
I hear you still. So I think from, obviously I know you and Harry have been mates from early. And obviously
I won't go that far.
What, not early?
This guy wants to start early, bro. This guy wants to really start this early. You know what, yeah, I was thinking about this the other day, and I think we talked about it briefly like a few months back, but the first time I met you, I actually didn't know what your face looked like. So when you were like, basically we met, I was going to take his picture for this Viceland documentary he was doing, like a still. And obviously I've only seen him in the Bally online, so when we met, I didn't know what I was looking for. And it's a bit weird to say, oh, what do you look like? You know what I mean? Like, that's a bit mad. So we just met. I'm not going to tell the story because I've already told it again. And another thing, but yeah, I was thinking about it today. I was thinking, what am I looking for? But obviously we were meeting at a certain place and it just happened. But what I wanted to say, like just get into it just deeply, was main thing I want to know is going from trapping into tattooing. What's the main things you've kind of brought across, if anything? Maybe you can tell me to fuck off and there's nothing.
What do you mean brought across?
Like, is it like there's a structure to how you work? Like, I know, for instance, like you're doing your music as well. So with your music, say, maybe you bang out tattoos for a week. Then like from there, it's not like you're working like a 9-to-5 job. You can just take that and the next week you could just be making beats. So like yesterday you told me you're like sampling tapes. What I'm saying is from trapping and like not working a normal 9-to-5 and then going into tattooing, what is there like any, if anything?
What like characteristics, skills,
yeah, like
all that
just
sort of stuff.
Like, is it like a determination thing? Like obviously you need to be so self-motivated to push yourself because no one's going to wake you up. No one's going to call you up and say you're late. Like this is all you. Like there's no PA, there's nothing. So I'm just wondering what motivates you basically to go from that to that. Obviously I know like it's a good thing getting off the roads, etc. But like, is there like skills I'd say that you've taken from that?
Yeah, I wouldn't say like. I think it's a natural transition and progression. I didn't have any like, like turning point to go like, I don't want to do no road, nothing no more. Do you know what I mean? Like certain people have certain reasons too. Do you know what I mean? I always enjoyed the things that I did, but fucking with like where I'm at now with what I do, having an income and flexible time facilitated growing this passion. Do you get what I mean? I think like fucking I'm definitely pro trapping. I think like as a means to do something.
You mean the hustling, just for those that take trapping as in just like shotting food? You mean just the whole grinding and whatnot? If
you can manage your own enterprise, that's one business. If you can set up that one business, you should have more benefit in the real world in creating a second legitimate business. Do you know what I mean? I think like
you're an entrepreneur.
Yeah, certain players have it confused in that and think that like it's easier to do road and it's more difficult to like open up a registered legitimate company and be legit. But if you know this way, you're way more experienced and well versed. Like there's players that go to university and get a degree in entrepreneurship. Do you know what I mean? And they'll do 4 or 5 years of like studying and getting a master's in a fucking degree in business and all that. Hands-on experience doing something that's way more like practical based. Do you know what I mean? You're actually learning real life.
But you know what it is as well, is it's like are you saying, I get what you're saying, but also are you saying, bruv, trapping as in like you've got a long-term goal. You're not just trapping and like that's your life. Like you're going to be trapping when you're 30 whatever or 40 whatever.
There's certain man
you're saying that, bruv, trap, but have like an end goal, like do something with the funds.
I'm saying I did. There's certain man that are destined to be that for the rest of their life.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? Like the same way there's brothers that are destined to just work in Tesco. And they never want
There's
more.
not a bigger picture.
They never want more. They just want to work that, and that's fine. That's absolutely fine.
Yeah.
And the same thing for certain men that just like, there's certain men that actually love trapping. They actually love like, if
the life.
But not necessarily like all the bad things that come with it. But as a thing, it's attractive, and I understand why. Especially if you're like unskilled, uneducated, and you don't have like any
other route really, like other like
no one's bringing you into
options.
something. Do you know what I mean? You usually find like someone.
Everyone gets a job from a family member, a friend these days. That's you get brought into saying, you know, the boss's son or whatever.
Statistically, I think it's like 80% of employment comes through referral.
Yeah, 100. So if you don't have that connection, like if you don't have that kind of support network,
that is fun.
Yeah, I think it's
true.
It's
though.
under 5% that apply direct. You know, just like walking into a place and boom, I want this.
Man.
That's statistics for America though, but I guess that's similar to here. Innit?
You know when you hear that, it just really reminds you how important your network has to be, fam. You know, you're saying, what was it, 60 or 80 you said?
80.
Yeah, 80%, fam. So just imagine all those youths out there that have no one in the network at all that's really trying to get that job or whatever it is. They want to stop doing what they're doing. And it's like, bruv, they have no links, fam. Like, they're just going for job after job. They're not getting it because the next man's that's gone for it, his dad is such and such that owns this business and whatnot. So the links is just there, you know. And certain men are just going as far as Tesco.
To a degree, one thing I will say about links and networking and things like that, I think that if you're actually like a decent person and you're nice, you tend to have more opportunities. Do you know what I mean? Because like
charm your way.
Yeah, really, but not in like a manipulating like.
No, of
I'm
course.
trying to finesse this bread because I want something out of him. But like in general, if you've just naturally gone about your life in like a nice way, the people you've encountered have been left with like a good impression and like you got on or whatever. Most of these things aren't like I'm saying, that 80% thing. It's through referrals of people that would be like considered like associates or like brief acquaintances, not like fucking, do you know what I mean, solid like friendships and that.
Yeah.
And I think like fucking see like if I
know, it was all mad. I tried to,
free him up, man.
Free me from that.
But yeah, if you're in a bad way, like you like someone that doesn't have a lot of opportunities or any of these things, it makes me like question a little bit like how likable they are. Do you know what I mean? If like no one fucks with you, do you know what I mean? If no one can put you onto anything.
You're on it, brother. Let me ask the question.
Do your thing.
Alright, so there was 2 questions I wanted to ask you. And one that I love asking every man that's like come off the roads and everything, because it's just always interesting to me to hear about everybody's journey, which is what made you actually get into trapping? Or what was the drive? You know, because everybody's reason's different. For some people's for girls, some people's money.
That's
like, it's different,
mad,
literally, yeah.
I know how. I was just trying to think of like the smartest way to put it.
Not how in terms of what you practically done, but just mentally what made you think.
The motivation.
Yeah, like let me do this.
I was doing it anyway.
From the early.
From 13, I was already like being asked as a favour. Do you know what I mean? Like, your mate has something. I beg you grab me something.
But it's what we're saying, it's connections and links. You got brought into it from a mate.
After a while, he made a drink off me for a minute. It was like, bro, you keep coming to me to buy 3 drawers every day. Just take a Z. There you go. Do you know what I mean?
But then, so that was...
I didn't even smoke until my 20s as well, by the way.
So basically you're saying you got into it because that's just your environment. That's just what it was around you.
Bro, all that actually is middleman in and negotiating. That's all you ever do. You don't really have like control over the product, the branding, like. Do you know what I mean? You're just a middleman.
But from early days, yeah, like, did you ever work a job? Have you ever had like a salary, like a wage?
No, I had already been doing that for a while. But
what was the job?
I got a proper job when I was 16 till 17. I was selling Sky TV on the phone. And they paid for me to get NVQ in customer service.
Salesmanship.
That's the only education I have.
But were you trapping on the side then, or were you just
I was in work. Everyone's a stoner. Everyone was. Do you know what I mean? Bro, you telling me you could sit on the phone and answer 1,000 calls a day and take bare shit.
So would you say it's more like you got into it because it's just easy money? Like you've done a job, like you've been selling Sky to people. It's long. It's not really paying. You're probably making more peas at work from trapping than you were from the wage, innit? Like from selling people Sky TV.
To be completely honest with you, I never separated the two things as like, here's legitimate income, here's illegal
you're still
income.
young, so
it's all income.
You're
just doing things, and it like you're not like It's not like a disheartened thing, like, oh, what, you're working a job, dickhead, or like, do you know what I mean?
It is what it
but
is.
do you reckon if, like, say, like, another world, yeah, say you got promoted to be the manager, like, say you banged off sales, you sold bare Sky,
I did.
and you got promoted, yeah, and they said, bro, we want you to be, like, the regional manager. Do you think you would have just ever cut off trapping? Like, would that at that age, would that have ever gone through your head to be like, bro, I'm just going legit, like?
No, I was quite an unreasonable young man.
Okay. So it was never, it never seemed like an option to just stop all that. It was just, that's just what you were doing. That's what you were on.
Yeah, but like now I can articulate myself and I'm more thoughtful. I think all of that period of time as a young man in my teenage years, I was just impetuous and I was just responsive to my surroundings and situation. It wasn't thought through. It was just like, you've left school now, so do you get an education or do you get a job? So I applied for something that my boy was already at. He brought me in. There you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
So obviously you've added an interesting factor now. In terms of
what, telesales?
No. In terms of you leaving school.
Yeah.
Was that around that 13 age you're saying? Or was that after, when you left? Or do you mean you finished school?
I went to a different secondary school every year.
Oh, okay,
cool. But I was always in
like
education.
That?
Yeah.
I was just getting expelled.
Yeah, right.
Or you moving around
like that, but yeah, a bit of both, innit? But the reasons I left schools was behaviour, innit? Not necessarily, like, I wasn't like, do you mean savage? I never did nothing raw, but it was just like accumulation of like
it's building up,
misbehaving, innit? Because I looked at that as a social playground rather than like a somewhere to learn. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So then from alright, I'll give you an example. So for me, growing up as a kid, obviously, like, from, like, I think, like, 7 years old, like, I was selling comics, washing cars, like, to make pee and whatnot, and then, like, gradually, like, weapons, and then trapping and so on and so forth. But in terms of the thought process growing up, the same thing about my surroundings, I couldn't see any other options, because all I could imagine being at a point was footballer, rapper, or something like that, or boxer. And none of those three, to me, I could imagine myself blowing in. So the roles was just the extra, sort of career pathways. Like, it's easy accessible, you can start from now. So options wise, it was limited in my head at that time. So obviously when you was young, did you feel that you knew that there's other stuff you could do, like you're doing your tattooing now? You probably didn't know you could be a tattooer, but did you know there was other options?
Not until I saw it.
Okay, so yeah.
I think like going to what you said then about the football and the boxing and things like that. Yeah, is what's that saying? If you knew better, you'd do better.
Yeah.
But if you've encountered something like physical or like you've actually seen it almost like unlocks that thing. Do you get what I mean? Like see like when you first start Grand Theft Auto on the computer game and the map is all dark, but once you've been to that road, now you can put it in the waves. Yeah. Now you can put it in the TomTom and go. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that was a good analogy. So
when
no, it was proper.
Big up GTA 5.
GTA 5. I'm rinsing it.
But like with things like that, like I didn't think about owning my own retail space and a business until I knew someone that had it. Do you know what I mean? I just thought, that's mad. That's
it hadn't come into your world.
Yeah,
that just wasn't
someone
on
that
your
owns
field.
their home. That's mad. Someone that actually owns the yard they live in. It's not like a fucking the council can take this away if we don't play right. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Once you know like it's possible, it unlocks that thing, and then you can do it. So I didn't have the blind like sitting, I don't know, without the knowledge of it being a thing and thinking I can do it. I got my first tattoo around that 13 age.
13?
Yeah.
Bro, how did you get the balls to do that, man?
I was watching, it was my old man's friend come over to tattoo him in my living room. And I was seeing it happen and I was catting. I was like, oh my God, I need it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I know like everyone's going to go mad at school and that. Do you know what I mean?
What was it?
I got London on my leg, innit?
Actually?
Yeah.
Damn.
But,
the way you moved your leg quickly, I knew, he ain't on showing it still.
But it's a sick tattoo. I rate it now, innit? I still think it's cool. But
that's like what, 3 London tattoos?
On me?
Yeah, so you got like 3.
Let's not get into that.
Keeping it under wraps here, alright. But you saw this guy tattooing your dad and you just knew, I need that. That's the thing. Like you want to show it off to your mates,
it was super
the girls.
cool having tattoos before everyone, and I think that's why I went mental. Because it like
overboard.
More like.
But yeah, if you started from 13, like I haven't got a tattoo. I only started when I was 18.
Yeah,
so if you started when you're 13, there's like time. You run out of space.
No. I wasn't like getting tattooed during that whole time.
No, but you got your first one at 13.
Yeah. So in my head, I was already like at the top.
Yeah.
Of like getting tattooed amongst my friends and that. So by the time I'm 18 and a couple men have got like sleeves and that, I'm thinking nah. I've got to get the most. I got to do the most. Do you know what I mean? I got battered in tattoos. I loved it, and fucking I think it was through that put me into contact with bears like Jamie.
I was gonna say actually that the first time I actually ever heard of you, you didn't know me, I didn't know you, was through Jamie and that. I knew that you were going down to the shop and you were just kind of about. Yeah. Like you were about them sides, you were coming into the shop, chilling. And I think at that time you weren't actually tattooing.
No, I just loved it.
You were just around it.
I just loved it.
So then like what I wanted to get onto was when you first got into tattooing, knowing that you weren't like, you didn't have like the normal like traditional way of apprenticeship, you know, earning your stripes in a shop, etc. How did you find that? Because obviously you've kind of had to learn it all your own way. Kind of like probably trapping as well in a sense where you just got to learn like, you know, obviously how to tattoo, but everything around it. What do you need for it? Where are you going to do it? Where are you going to get the customers, etc. Like, how was that? Like first starting out when you weren't even in a shop? Or what did you start first in a shop?
But before you answered that one, you're getting hit up with questions now. Before you answered that one, could you tell me what made you think this is something I can get into?
Because...
And then hopefully that will lead into his thing naturally.
Alright, if we don't mention a shop name and all that.
Yeah, that's calm.
Like they was buying bits and that and fucking they was also quite chill with me posting up there and doing my thing from there. And
swear down. Free space.
What in Jamie's thing? Okay. Yeah, because that's a long time ago. But you were basically getting in extra bits through them. And then, like, what, taking that and tattooing at your yard, or...
No, I'm not talking about tattoos.
He's talking about Crow, selling weed.
Oh, right. Yeah. You just brought the whole conversation just... Alright. Yeah.
Like,
we'll get onto that, that.
I enjoyed it. Because it was like... my man's a very he has an attractive energy. He's very funny, very like charismatic. I see how he's dealing with customers. People are getting tattooed and that. And these days, like he's just showing me things on the internet of like tattooers that are doing cool tattoos and things like that. Obviously, I just had the fucking normalized, do you know what I mean, like footballer sleeves and that in my head. I didn't know about like that's a cool design and why it's a cool design. Why is that a cool tattoo? Why is that? So my man gave me like an education on what's out there in the world of tattoos. I didn't know that like there's different brands that do different styles. I just thought you go to a tattoo shop and you get what's there, innit?
I only learned that on Friday. Do you know how I learned as well? I was showing my bedroom at work, and then your Insta, innit? And it was like, oh, he does think the American style or something. And I said,
well, you said that, or
that's what my bedroom said, innit? And I said, bro, what do you mean, man? It's a tattoo, bro. And he said, nah, like there's different styles and different cultures.
What, you call it the American style?
The American something. I don't know.
I would call it line work, but you
maybe said line, but he could have said that. But yeah, there was something he said, but in my head it was just, bruv, it's just a tattoo. Like what? How you putting it in its own box, and then he broke it down like there's different styles,
like genres of music, innit?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And when I learnt that gave me the idea of like what do I now like? Which now that I know there's flavors, I get to see what flavors my favorite and that. You know what I mean? And it was also the fucking.
You laughed at flavors, man. You know.
Stringing a bad chubby lollies. Just pick one in it. every day you try a new flavour, man.
No, but I did get all types of tattoo styles and that, like tattooed on me and that, and fucking. It was just like an attractive environment. Do you know what I mean? Like it seemed very like open and fucking like free. Do you know what I mean? Like I'd obviously fucking I had my little experience doing a telesales thing, like working a timed scheduled job. Do you know what I mean? And fucking the tattooing thing was just
out there, just like completely different. Just kind of because I've seen you do tattoos like late at night, but then also I'm sure you got people saying, look, I need to do it like fairly early because I've got this, that, and the other.
9 o'clock in the morning.
No, not this early, but like early-ish, innit? Like obviously what I'm saying is your timescale varies, but what I wanted to say is like, you know, you've basically had to forge that, like learn that whole thing on your own. Like how was that? Was it scary? Did you have any crazy fuck-ups where like in the very beginning where, you know, you didn't really know what you were doing probably? Like you were just kind of making it happen. You just knew you wanted to do this. You knew you wanted to be a tattooer, and you were just grinding, putting everything, like all your energy, money, etc. into it. Like how was the beginning? Like the very start when you first started doing your own like tattoos. Like what was the first tattoo you've ever done on someone? Like with a gun.
It was Samara. She lived on the estate.
Next to us.
Yeah, pretty much. And I took the machine off my man that did mine when I was young, and I just had bare chat. I just had so much like energy for like wanting to get into like doing it. I was telling people I can do it, and then I didn't know how to like make it work. Like I had the parts and all that, and I didn't know how to turn it on, and she come over. And she'd bought a setup and was doing it at home as well. And then she showed me like how to do it and that, this and that. And she's like, oh, do you wanna have a go and do something Practice. On my foot and that?
She took the risk.
Yeah, she was happy. She saw it as, look, I'm gonna get covered in tattoos anyway, like having one or two silly ones.
Oh
like,
yeah,
too much. And it was only small, do you know what I mean? It was a butterfly, but it was complete trash.
And that was the first tattoo you ever did?
Yeah, like right. On the,
did you have a stick and poke before that, or was it just straight into the gun?
Just straight into the machine, and then it was one of them raw, cheap Chinese ones off eBay, and that like when you turn it on, it like screams loud. Do you know what I mean? Sounds aggressive.
Everyone's got one somewhere. Like
bro,
these days it's so accessible, but I think
the power unit for it was like, you know, do you remember like PC towers?
Oh yeah.
It's a hot just to get power. You only need like 9 volts, and the thing was big like that. And it had a fan at the back, and it used to hum, and it had
about to warm it up, like.
Bruv, listen, this thing had like 12 like knobs and buttons and things like that used to say like fine and coarse. Do you know what I mean? Like, do you want
like if you're shading or if you're if you're going hard, like.
No, this is in relation to the electricity.
Oh, raw. Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
Fine and coarse.
Yeah, brother.
Coarse sounds raw.
I've only ever seen a similar machine in Maplin, and it was for something else. It wasn't for this.
The electric store.
Yeah, that power unit and that. I shot a couple of people with that as well. Like I'd set it up and that, and obviously I'm wearing rubber, and the metal tip of this thing to that thing, and where like I've overcharged the volts and that, when I put the pedal down, it just sends an electricity through.
What happened to Macman?
Knocked him out.
Hey, yo, this tattoo team is long, fam. This is
These are like early days when I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
what are you saying? That someone's come to get a tattoo and just got knocked out?
Yeah, he's my boy though, innit? I've done some mad.
That must have been mad when he woke up. Like,
Bruv,
when he wakes up and he's got like half a tattoo.
He blamed himself and that. He thought like, I've been blazing all day and I've not ate anything. Like, he thought he passed out from like pain or something. Do you know what I mean?
You should have gassed him, man. Like, man, you're a pussy.
100. I was like, nah, you should probably take the day off.
Oh, bro. Free him up, big him.
Get some sugar in you and that. Do you know what I mean?
But like, when did you get to the point where you were starting drawing your own designs? Like how long did it take you to get to be like, I don't want to do just anything. I don't want to do butterflies anymore. I want to do my thing. And you started
I only did one butterfly.
Alright, sounding like a few still. No, but what kind of got you on to drawing your own flash, and what like inspired that? Because obviously I see with like your work, you're like a 90s baby, no? Like around you, like it feels like a lot of your designs, it's like mad nostalgia. Like even like today I was seeing like the PS1, and it's like shit from like your childhood that like me coming from like a traditional tattoo background I never see. So like I'm mad interested to see the designs and like how I relate to them. But like where did you get the idea from? Did you just want to like tattoo stuff that like you fucked with, or did you like get inspiration from something else?
It come out of volume. Like when I actually decided that I was gonna pursue it as a thing, and right, let me bang out and like follow this path to my full capacity, I ramped up the amount that I put in. Someone told me that fucking quote, if you do what you've always done, you'll get what you've always got.
Yeah.
So the way I understood that is if I do something over dramatic with my life, I'll get an over dramatic response. Do you know what I mean?
Okay. So
if I draw like fucking 20 tattoo designs every day and put them out on I got a smartphone, and I downloaded Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter and Facebook, and I uploaded to all 4 of these
platforms
every day. 20 designs, boom boom boom, every day. And when you think about like the content, like the conceptual art that you've got to do, I've battered the resources of like what's like on the top surface layer of my mind of like what's like, what do people want to get tattooed and that, like a fucking rose or this or that. Do you get what I mean? All the bait things. That's been exhausted day one.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And then through doing it more, I found more of myself. Do you know what I mean? Because now I'm digging deeper into my mind of...
Gone past the generic surface level, you're getting deep into
there was always traces of myself in it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I was always drawing from my own mind.
But now it's like the whole design is slowly becoming more and more yours. So whether it's like you see, like when you started doing the girls, and it's like, I call it like cut up into plates. So you have like triangles and stuff
like
coming onto
glass.
it. Yeah. Like I saw it and I was like, that's you. Yeah. And I feel like one thing I noticed, like you can correct me or someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but it felt like when you started coming out, what was so different about it, you weren't just any tattooer, like you weren't just starting in the local shop or, you know, someone's boy at a hotel or like just doing it out there flat in an estate. You were like one of the first people, if not the first person in the UK to be like pushing line work. Like I said, like most people have like whip shading, like traditional, and you were coming with this line work. And like, give us a little bit of insight into that, in the sense of when you were first doing that, you must have got some negative reaction. Obviously, a lot of positive, but obviously you were doing something so different to everyone else that in a world which is like kind of all about rules and convention, you were like, fuck that. Like, I'm just doing this on my own. I'm just plugging it with all my energy. Furthermore, I'm not even going to take your designs. I'm going to do my own designs over here and fuck who don't like it. And it was that kind of rebelliousness that I think people kind of were drawn to it, you know. They're like interested by it. Like, what's this guy saying, you know? Like, and you know, like, if you want, like, talk a bit about Linework, because I feel like now in the UK, people get a tattoo and it's like no shading, and that's just the norm now. And it's like just a normalized thing. But back then, when you were starting, it was a big deal. Like, it wasn't a joke.
It was what I was interested in it. I remember looking at like, I'm trying to remember these brothers' names and that.
They were doing Linework.
No, they was doing traditional tattoos, but I remember seeing the flash books. You could buy them and that.
Yeah.
And
so you can just flip through all their designs.
And like, you go into the shop, and it would be just a black drawing on paper, and then you'd get that, and then they colour it in.
Yeah.
And I was buying them and getting them tattooed, just the lines, because I just liked the way that looked for me. Like, and then I remember I was getting some shit at that time, getting it tattooed, because they was like, oh, you're gonna go somewhere else and get it coloured in for cheaper or something. Do you know what I mean? I was like, no. Like, still now, like, most of my shit, like, is that line work. Do you know what I mean? But it's like, it's the subject matter and the concepts are traditional things.
Yeah,
but
just not filled in.
It's just the lines.
It's the outline.
That's what was, like, aesthetically pleasing to me. Do you get what I mean? But when I started, I think the reason, like, obviously I can't say because I was the one doing it, but the difference that I saw in myself and what that tattoo industry was like, I only had a small bit of context from one person as to what that world is. And I was more interested in that person than I was that world. Do you get what I mean? Yeah. That's why I went to hang out there.
You weren't really looking to go around bare tattoo shops and learn about the culture and traditions.
I didn't want that.
The
I
people.
Didn't want that.
Yeah.
I liked the social side of hanging around with that brand and tattoos as that thing. But fucking, when it come to like me doing it, I had the line in the hotel room, and I didn't need the money from the tattoos. So I could push all of my own stuff on the internet, which found bare people, and I had my own source of income to support this. And I wasn't trying to make this a
like a self-sufficient business.
Yeah,
I wasn't
needing
the peas from people's tattoos because you had the like capital to begin with.
Now I look at like what holds a lot of like, I'd say like potentially big artists or good artists back is that like, unfortunately it's not a thriving business like a restaurant is or retail. Do you get what I mean? There's only so many people that you can do in your local.
There's only so many people into tattoos.
And there's a cap on how much you can charge as well. Do you get what I mean? If you're like taking a piss with the peas and that, then no one's really gonna. Also,
it's something that's permanent on someone's skin. It's not like infinite. You can wear infinite amount of clothes. You can chuck them in the bin, etc. This is a bit more like, I guess it is like a luxury fucking thing to get into, isn't it? To have for yourself. But what people end up doing is they become successful, and also I kind of think like what I've seen with certain artists and things like that, when they become like, when they get to a certain point, is like they get like quite a quick injection of a lot of money, and they maybe haven't come from handling that much cash. And they
blow it.
Yeah, they might be like a bit irresponsible, but then also like a great example would be like, and I'm talking from my own experience. When I had that job at 17 and I was shotting, I was getting a huge amount of money in, and I felt superior. I felt fucking. The money went to my head. Obviously, it wasn't like now in reflection, it wasn't that much money. But in comparison to my peers that are in college, and I'm bags on me and that in my pocket, and I'm thinking I'm sick, and I'm like,
you're like the man.
Yeah. 100% I was. I fucking lost my mind.
It's all relative. That's just what it was around you. So.
Yeah, I was a mentalist, and I think like similar things to like the tattoo profession is like when people start to get money and they maybe not had it before, and it's also like it's a massive ego thing as well. Massive, like ego is a massive thing in this because it's your thing. Do you know what I mean?
Do you think? Obviously, I don't know that much about tattoos because I don't have one myself, but the whole sort of community, do you think is a supportive community for people like yourself that
Depends
are just coming
who you
in
are.
the game?
But alright, cool. So for me, like when I danced around it and did some fucking tangents and that. But when I came through, I think
Man, like Havoc, you know.
shut
You're right. You need a minute.
But seriously, I come through doing something that was fucking unorthodox, yeah. But it was popular. Undoubtedly, in my first 2 months, I tattooed nearly 200 people.
Snap.
But that's because of work rate and because of price.
That's mad, bro.
That's active.
But that's because I was in that.
Especially if you're not even having a shop, like
I
a
had the
location. Yeah.
People weren't banking on the internet being a thing. People and when they thought about the internet, they thought about things like fucking Google ads. Do you get what I mean?
What year was that?
2016.
Oh yeah, so Insta was still, yeah.
But I spread it across all four. Do you know what I mean? Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, and Facebook. Instagram's the one that kicked off the most, and then I laid back. I should have been kept like, if I'd be a much more powerful media thing if I kept up the other three the same energy that I put into Instagram, because they're different pools of people.
Yeah, it's completely different audiences.
I'm banging on TikTok now.
TikTok, yeah.
You're on it.
I'm on that.
What is that?
I
Like
always
Vine?
see that.
Don't sleep on that.
Is that like, is it like Vine?
I'll show you after when we're done with this.
Alright, say no more. I'm involved. Show me as well. Man.
I think the other thing I wanted to get into is like, yeah, so when you say supportive, you've had a lot of, I would say you've had a lot of backlash from the tattoo community. I know you've told me, for instance, like certain shops don't want to host you or certain people don't want to fuck with you. Would you say that's motivated you like, at all? Or have you just been like, whatever, like... Because for me, I know for me it would push me. Like, it'd make me just want to be like, fuck them, I'm just going to do this anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think culturally we was different as well. Like, I kind of don't...
I was gonna, culturally different for me, that makes sense, especially your background where you're coming from. And what I see from some of the tattooers, I don't know all of them personally, obviously, but it seems like they come from backgrounds where things has been nice, they come on this like hipstery sort of vibe.
Grunge
where
and
you're
that,
on this like, boom,
yeah.
I'm active, I'm trying to push my thing.
I think fucking...
It was a culture shock.
Not a shock, because I never entered into their realm. They had their own little...
No, but I think it was a culture shock to them.
For me...
No. For them, it was a
for
culture
for
shock.
them, like me... I was
See you coming into it.
For them, I represent every single brand that ever stole their mobile phone, made them feel uncomfortable walking down the street. Do you get what I mean? I was the chav, the fucking...
But it was the way you were selling yourself. Like these days, I see like tattooers like wheat pasting their things and their like Instagram ads, or like just doing crud stuff like spray painting as in like their number and just being like, come get a tattoo. It's mad. Whereas back then, like you were saying, you were using all these social media platforms and you were just pushing your work, and I think they just weren't used to that because they were thinking, which shop is this guy at? Who's letting him do this? Why are people getting these tattoos? Da-da-da-da-da-da. You know, and like, so for me, I think it would have just been a bit like, yeah, obviously you as a person, they wouldn't have got it, but it's also the whole style. I don't think they were used to that. You know, like my mate Max Kuhn in America was tattooing out on motels for time. He didn't really want to be in a shop. So I've seen that before. It wasn't that. But it's more like, bruv, the designs are so different. Like their lines, line work, etc. And then on top of that, it's the way you're branding yourself. Like what I wanted to go into was the fact that from trapping, it must be the case, yeah, that you've taken salesmanship into tattooing, because the way you sell your product and the way you brand yourself is very unmistakable. Whereas a lot of people these days are just like, I'm Derek Peters, you know, I make tattoos, and it's like there's nothing. You're not gonna stand out. Whereas you're like, yo, like I don't know, like I'm this guy, and
you're bringing your whole character.
Yeah, like your captions are Marmite. Like you probably piss off bare people, but you draw bare people into it. Like, you know, I want to hear about like the marketing side of things, because I think obviously your brand as Trap House is very solid. Like you've been doing this for a hot minute, but on top of that, it's the way you sell yourself. On top of that, like, you know, you're going in like just chatting mad ish on the internet. Like, tell us a bit about that, like, because you are, bruv. You are like. You know, you're talking like some of your captions just, bruv, they just go off on mad tangents that, to be honest, I know, like, obviously I get it. Some people don't get it, they take it a bit too serious. You gotta take it with a pinch of salt.
No, I don't know, like,
but it just feels like it's almost like you're kind of trolling people, but like not in a bait way. Like you're kind of getting on to people, and sometimes people bite as well.
But then again, like, why would you use social media as a, like, take it in the physical realm? Like, imagine social media was a physical realm, because essentially this device is an extension of yourself. It's on your body most of the time. It is pretty much like a part of you, right? And it holds a lot of your attention. So you can imagine if we're hypothetically going to manifest that in the physical. If we walk into a room where there's a lot of people, and I just say, here's a picture of what I do.
No one's listening.
Who gives a fuck about that?
You were turning the other way. Like.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not, and the other thing is as well, yeah, what I clocked with myself, I'm more inclined to listen to, hang out with. I'm just more attracted to an energy that's I don't want to say like positive, not like some hippie thing, but like a
bit weird and wild, like.
Well, just if you interest me and I laughed or I'm happy, like,
good energy, good vibe.
I wanna go see that thing again. I wanna be around that again.
Yeah, surround yourself.
Do you know what I mean? And I'm in general, like, I'm quite like fucking happy most of the time. Like, even in bad things and bad situations, like I find like I've got like a trigger response to make a joke out of it.
You can see the silver lining.
Situation.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean?